Hello, this is Jennidee Mills and this is my very first ever online tutorial, and today I'm going to show you how I blend with pencils. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the world's foremost expert on this, but I can just show you what I do. Now, I do recommend a really good pencil. There are some pencils out there that are very plasticky and you cannot blend with. In fact, you can barely colour with them. So today I'm using a few brands of pencils to work with. This one is just a Faber-Castell pencil. I've got some very high quality Derwent watercolour pencils, and I have a Progresso Aquarelle pencil, which is also a watercolour pencil. I like using the watercolour pencils because they're very soft and they blend very well. So I'm going to start with the petals of this flower here, and I start by laying down the lightest colour first, which in this case is the Faber-Castell. So I'm just going to start by laying down a very even coverage with this light pink pencil. And I'm just pressing moderately just to get a nice even but not too heavy coverage on my petal. Okay, then I'm going to take the next darkest colour, which is another Faber-Castell. Now when I want to make the end of the petal the darkest, so that's where I'm going to press the heaviest to make that nice and dark. And then as I come down the petal, I'm going to start releasing the pressure on the pencil to make lighter marks as I come down, so that it will blend in to the lighter colour. So it's all about the pressure, really. Just what was that? Just releasing the pressure on your pencil as you come down the petal. So not pressing as hard, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And so that's blending into the lighter colour. Now with this one, I've also blended into the bottom of the petal, so I'm going to start heavy or hard in the corner where it's darkest, which should be a shadow. So pressing very, very hard, it's actually making an indent in the paper, which is why I've got a nice sort of softish book underneath. And then as I come up the petal, just releasing the pressure, making lighter and lighter marks as I come up. And that's the first petal. So we'll have a look at the middle one, which I used an even lighter pink. Now with this one I actually used a shading with the one colour, so I'll show you how I did that. Just lay down an even colour to start with. Just even all over the petal, trying to stay in the lines. I don't always stay in the lines, but I do my best. Now down the bottom here where I think it's darker and I think that there's a bit of shadow, I'm going to go back over the colour that I've just laid down, and I'm going to press harder, very hard into that corner. So see how I get that nice dark patch there? And then I'm going to come back up the petal, and as I go, get lighter and lighter with the pressure. This would not work with a cheaper pencil. You just don't get the variations in pressure with a cheap pencil. Okay, and on the other side of the petal, laying down the fairly light, even coverage. And then in the bottom, at the bottom of the petal, nice and dark, where I think it's sort of shadowy, just to give the petal some shape. And then coming back up the petal, reducing the pressure to make the marks lighter and lighter. Now you can see this side is a little bit darker than that side, but that doesn't matter. And then at the top I've used a Derwent pencil, which is a watercolour pencil. Now these are a little bit waxier than the Faber-Castell because they're meant to be used with water. So they do leave a slightly different mark. Sometimes, as you can see, or I hope you can see, in this petal, the darker colour even breaks up a little bit, but I think that just adds to the character. Okay, so nice and heavy up the top where I want the colour to be the darkest. Then as I come down the petal, lighter and lighter, pressing a lot less heavy to make the shading. Now, as you can see, this petal, even though this was exactly the same pencil, here we go, that was done with the same pencil as that one. I've obviously pressed a lot heavier on this one, so it's made it a lot darker on that petal, but that's fine. Again, it's just all variations in your work. So to make the petals behind, I started with a darker colour, which was the darkest in this petal, nice and heavy in the areas where I think it's a bit shady, and then lighter up towards the top where there's more light. And just a little bit heavier again on the end, because that's where I want that red colour. So it's all about experimenting with pressure and just practicing how hard you press the pencil down. If you go through the paper, you know you've gone too hard. Okay, and then I think I used this one, which is the Progresso Aquarelle. Nice and hard in the tip, and then coming down with lighter pressure. So there you go, 3 petals, starting to blend in those colours. Now I've used basically 2 colours to blend on this one. If I wanted to use more colours, it's all about starting with the lightest one, progressing to the darkest one. And if you want to blend different colours, such as a green and a blue, well, that's a different technique, which I might show in another video. But that's all for today. Please like this video and check out my Etsy shop. Thanks very much.